3. What's up, friends? Welcome to another Chaos Live. So how are you all doing? Welcome all you early arrivers. Let's get the music going in the background. Sure, give me a heads up if it's too loud going on in the background. But what's up, T-Dog? First one into the chat, at least. We got Jacob, we got Thomas, Mr. Up, Misfit, Skechers Kid Gaming, Charles, Hugh, and that's it. I think that for the first early ones, Eduardo. So welcome to Chaos Live. If you're new, never been here before, then welcome. This is just my little live stream. Get to hang out with you guys for about an hour and answer any questions you guys have, and just hang out because you guys are awesome and I like hanging out with you guys. So audio sounds good. All right, cool, awesome. It's good to hear. So yeah, we'll just hang out here. A couple things we'll talk about, as well as doing the normal Q&A kind of stuff as well. As you notice there, I've changed it up a little bit. Now it says road to 30,000 subscribers. I know I had it before, a 50,000 goal for like a 2-hour stream, but I'm gonna talk about that. The 30,000 goal is a little bit closer. It's not too far away, as we are at 27,000 now. But some cool things that can happen at 30,000 that I'm really interested in. So we'll see. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Maybe a giveaway kind of along with that kind of idea and stuff, as well as some other new T-shirts. So if I forget any of that stuff, remind me. If it's been a while and I haven't talked about this whole idea of this road to 30,000, and I haven't talked about some of these new T-shirt ideas, things that I'm doing, remind me. Somebody remind me in the chat. So if you have a question, then drop it in the live chat and I'll try to answer if I know the answer to it and I can help out. And if you not subscribed, then you should do like Vania, I don't know how to pronounce that. You should do like that person did and subscribe and join the Chaos Army. But otherwise, leave your questions. We'll try to talk about them. They also have Snapchat Stories. This is going to be kind of my new little thing. If you use YouTube mobile, they have this Snapchat, or not, it's not Snapchat, it's YouTube Stories, where it's kind of like Snapchat, kind of like Instagram Stories, where you can have like these short 30-second stories. But I'm gonna kind of use it as a Q&A, but again, my answers have to be 30 seconds. So if you don't know about it, if you use YouTube mobile on either your phone or tablet, then you can see like these stories when you go to like subscriptions, or may show up in your feed, but we'll kind of utilize it for that purpose. So what do we got going on here in the chat? Let's see. Jacob saying he's always at every live stream. Well, thank you. That's awesome. Glad. Good afternoon. It's like the evening time. James, thank you for joining the Chaos Army if you're here in the live chat. My grandpa wore the Army service and overseas ribbon. The ribbons came out in '81 and he is retired in '76. He can still wear it. There's people that asked me about this before, where they were, old school Army veterans from before that ribbon came out. And yeah, they could put it on the uniform if you want. If you wanted to update their uniform and add the Army Service ribbon to the uniform, that's totally a legit thing to do. So, Chris, I've been first pretty often as well. Well, thank you, T-Dog, for being first and hitting that notification platoon. That was something you're gonna try doing. You know, if it sticks, it sticks. You know, notification platoon. So if you're part of that notification platoon, you want to rep it and you want to, comment that on videos because you got the notification and went right to it, then awesome. I know there's a lot of you awesome people that do that, so that's really cool. You didn't answer my question on the story thing. It might just be that either it was too long of an answer or I didn't see it yet. I don't know. It depends on what the question was. I can't answer all the questions. There's quite a few comments, not a ton, but there are some questions that the answer is going to be longer than 30 seconds, or I can't fit it into a 30-second answer, so I just can't. You got to keep that in mind too. If I can't answer your story or answer your question in 30 seconds or less, I can't. There's no way of really just doing it. So that's kind of the limitation of it. If it's a longer answer, then you might just have to come to Chaos Live and ask it there, because there I can answer those longer questions. Is it true that everyone gets paid as an E1 during basic training, even if you go in with a degree for enlisted only? No. If you come in, like say you have a bachelor's degree and you come in as a specialist, you're gonna get specialist pay. You don't get E1 pay in basic. You're gonna get paid what your pay grade is. So no, that is not true. What if you only do a minimum for the Army PT test? They're gonna be disappointed in you. If you did the minimum for every event, they're probably still going to give you a hard time. Sure, you passed, so they're not going to treat you as a failure, but they're probably still going to maybe have you do stuff to improve, because you don't have any leeway for, you know, for doing well, and like you're a risk of failure. So, and that's pretty much like that in all branches. All branches don't like it if you just do the bare minimum to pass. That's the minimum to meet the standards, sure, but if you do that bare minimum and just barely scrape by with that, you know, they could possibly, the leadership may just want to put you in remedial PT anyways, because they're like, hey, you need to do a little better than just the bare minimum. So they might still put you in that, but they're not going to, like, you know, prevent you from re-enlisting or prevent you from promotion, but they might still make you do extra physical fitness to try to improve your PT scores. Any info on the tank corps? You have to stick around for Monday. MOS Monday. 19 kilo, right? That's what I'm doing, yeah. There you go. Little insight for any of you here in the live stream or watching it afterwards before Monday. So 19 kilo, I think, will be the next MOS Monday. Always try to be at every stream. Well, thank you, Mr. Up. If you were 50, would you be able to serve in any worlds? What? In any war? Oh, any wars. Okay, I see your correction in there. If you're 50, you're still eligible to still be in the Army. You can't join at 50, but if you've been in the Army for a while and you're 50, you know, you should be a pretty high rank by that point. So you're not gonna be doing a lot of combat stuff. You'll probably be doing a lot of desk jobs and stuff. So, and then Vania is in here, who subscribed earlier. So, welcome to the live stream. What's up, Chris? Hope you're well. Hit that like button. I agree with Jay the Vorn. If you're in here and you were one of the early arrivals to Chaos Live today, make sure you hit that like button, because you're awesome, and I know that, you know, you want to. Do you have a video explaining your MOS? I do. I have an 88 mic video. I don't have it in the same format as like I was doing MOS Monday. Maybe at some point I might do that, where I might still do an 88 mic video in the same format as like the MOS Monday videos. But I have a little bit more of like my experience in that MOS as an 88 mic. So there's a video on there of like the lifestyle as an 88 mic. I forget what the title is, but it does talk about like what that's like, somewhat. So be sure to check that out. What about overseas ribbon? For what? For an old school veteran? Yeah, you can still wear an overseas ribbon if you served overseas. You gonna do a December 7th live stream? What's December 7th? I don't even know. Is something special about December 7th? December 7th is next Friday? No, if anything, it'll either be the 8th or the 9th. Probably next weekend. So I try to do it every weekend, so it'll probably be either next Saturday or next Sunday. It depends on what's going on. Should I do Ranger School and then SF, or vice versa? You definitely wouldn't want to do vice versa. You wouldn't want to do SF and then Ranger, because that would technically be a step backwards, and they wouldn't like that because they invested a lot of training into you to be SF. So if you were going to do that, you'd have to do Ranger first and then SF. But yeah, you wouldn't want to do SF first and then go Ranger. Question Guardian Angels. I don't know what Guardian Angels. Do you miss the Army? No, not really. I mean, I do a lot of work with the Army soldiers and training soldiers and stuff like that. So I still, you know, work with soldiers, and that's cool and all. But I don't really, you know, miss being in the Army. I like being in the civilian world. It's pretty fun. What do you do nowadays besides YouTube? That's that. I'm an instructor. I teach soldiers on the Army base Fort Carson, which was my last duty station, and so I teach classes on there and help train soldiers and stuff as a civilian, though. So it's nice, it's fun. Anyone else rewatch the Starring Strong series often? I don't even know what that is. Right, skipping through a little bit. Chaos, I already chose my MOS for the Army, and I'm going to MEPS on Tuesday. I'll be finishing my Wednesday. I can't say the MOS because my recruiter said for national security reasons. I wouldn't see it being any kind of national security for saying what your MOS is. Like, some people will be like, oh, you shouldn't be saying when you're going to basic training. But really, let's say if you were the enemy, right? There's basic training going on all the time. All you have to do is just attack a base anytime. There's going to be some kind of training going on. So it doesn't really matter to try to pick a specific date of when a basic training is going to start, because you'd be just as effective as an enemy trying to attack a base when, you know, on a time when you don't know when basic training is going to start. So knowing that isn't really anything for national security. Now, knowing when someone's going to deploy can be, but going to training like that doesn't really help anything. Knowing what MOS you're going to do isn't going to change anything. So yeah, it's always weird when some people say that kind of stuff, because there's this thing called OPSEC, you know, operational security, and that wouldn't be considered something that's OPSEC. It doesn't have, the enemy wouldn't have any kind of advantage against us knowing when you're going to basic training, knowing what MOS you are. They would only have an advantage if they knew certain key things, like when you're deploying, where you're deploying, stuff like that. What was my last rank? I was a sergeant when I got out. It's got the rank right there on my old Army uniform, back there hanging up on the wall. Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, though. I'm not a very good history person, so I am not very good with knowing historical dates like that. But probably not. I probably won't do anything special for like a Pearl Harbor live stream. It'll still be the normal kind of schedule, either Saturday or Sunday for that. The only exception that we might do, I guess, will lead into this guy here, this road to 30,000 subscribers. I'm working on the details, trying to figure out how I want to do it. But I'm probably going to do like a little New Year's or thank you 2018 kind of giveaway type of thing. And it's basically like the giveaway will have some kind of way to maybe you do something creative to try to recruit people into the Chaos Army, right? You know, maybe hopefully people are interested, and maybe there are people that, you know, want to join the military, the Army themselves, and you're just trying to inform them of, you know, somebody like myself that maybe can help them out, and some videos that they should watch, or a channel they should subscribe to. And I think we'll probably do a special New Year's Eve live stream, kind of doing, I think I talked about it during the last live stream, but I think I will do that. We'll probably do a special live stream for New Year's Eve until, you know, going through the different time zones for New Year's and stuff. And then along with that contest that's kind of you helping to recruit some people into the Chaos Army to get it to 30,000. And then with that, there'll be a giveaway of some like prizes and stuff. I'll have to figure out what to exactly do. But if the channel gets to 30,000, that allows those paid memberships, or makes it start to be eligible. Probably won't happen right out 30,000. It'll probably have to be somewhere a little bit past 30,000, just like with the community tab, didn't happen right at 10,000, happened a little bit after. So it'll probably be something like that. But with that, it gives that the membership thing availability for the channel, to where I can have it to where if you want to be a member to the channel, you get like a special icon next to your name. So I'm hoping to be able to do like a rank type of structure. So the longer you're a member of that little crew or whatever, the Chaos Army, maybe it'll be just titled, you'll get like a little rank insignia next to your name when you comment on videos and when you're in the live stream. And I think it'd be kind of cool to be able to distinguish members compared to, you know, everyone else, for those people that want to participate in it. I'm thankful if you just come to watch. That's cool with me, but just as like a little extra incentive for some people. So that's what the road to 30,000 is. Hopefully get to that point. Along with it, probably do a little giveaway as part of a contest, and then maybe announce the winner during the New Year's live stream. Maybe we'll do something like that. So that's the idea. What's the best MOS to blow stuff up? Definitely probably engineer. Probably you have a lot of sapper type of things you could do. So you could go sapper, and that's mainly like specific to explosives. But there's some engineer positions that deal with a lot of explosives. So probably 12 Bravo. Can you show us your military uniform? I have a video that actually shows it. I could move the camera around and everything, but you wouldn't be able to see it very clearly. I think you can see it a little bit better in that one video. There's a video, I think, that my uniform, that uniform, is in the thumbnail. So if you scroll through, you'll probably see it. It was a few months back or something like that, I think it was. So, do certain MOSs need to be a certain height or weight? There is a height restriction, but I've seen some people get waivers for that, because I've seen some pretty tall individuals in the Army. But as far as like a minimum and a maximum as well, weight really just goes off of you know, the Army standards for your age group. And then as far as specific MOSs, I think there might be a couple of things. Like, I don't know if you can be, I don't think they would allow you to be like a 19 kilo and be inside of a tank if you were, say, like 7 foot tall or something crazy like that. So there might be some little things here and there. Pilots might have some restrictions. I don't know any of them offhand, but there might be some, I would imagine. Chris, Starting Strong is an official series on MOS by Go Army YouTube channel. Oh, well, interesting. Are they stealing my MOS Monday? No. The goal is I would love to have more subscribers than the Go Army YouTube channel, but I think I'm still a ways away from that, and especially the official U.S. Army. I think there's a GoArmy.com YouTube channel, and then there's a U.S. Army YouTube channel. The U.S. Army one is a little bit closer to obtain. I think the GoArmy.com YouTube channel has like over 100,000 subscribers though, so I don't know. December, oh yeah, we got that. Do you think the rank of corporal is kind of pointless? No offense. In some ways it can be. I think it depends on the circumstance. Some people use it just to get someone promoted so that they can fill that NCO role because they want them to pull things like CQ, which is a 24-hour duty, or certain other things. But then there's other situations where I think it's good because a soldier maybe is a good leader, but not yet have the points or whatever that might be holding back from making sergeant, and they really need them to be in that leadership position to just take charge. So I think it just depends on the situation. There are some good situations to have people in corporal as a corporal. It kind of sucks being a corporal though, because you're basically doing the job of a sergeant without getting paid to be a sergeant. So there's good ways to be using it, I guess. Chris, you're a content monster. Keep it up. I try. I've been able to so far keep up with doing a lot of videos each week. I don't know if that's too much. Do I do too many videos per week? Not enough videos per week? Right about right per week? I think right now it's about, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, so we won't count it, Thursday, and then a live stream either Saturday or Sunday. So roughly 4 to 5 videos a week. You feel like that's too much? You feel like that's not enough? If it's not enough, I don't know if I can do more than that. Sometimes it's tough to do 5 a week. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the live chat or the comment section if you're watching this afterwards. Hey Chris, do regiments still have regimental flags with the battles they've been in on, or has that fallen out of tradition in the Army? I haven't seen guidons recently to know for sure. I know like when I got out in 2010, it was still a thing where you'd still have like sometimes your brigade guidon would have the kind of the different ribbons for different things for some of the battles, or if they qualified, you know, top for like troop would do that, like for company or troops would have like top qualification ribbons and different ones, but I don't know 100% for sure, so I don't know. Can you list on the option 40 if you have a medical waiver? I don't know. A minor one? I don't know. Maybe a minor one. I don't know. I guess it just depends on the waiver. But I would imagine maybe if it's a minor one, maybe you could. Jay the Vorn says, I remember being here when you had 2,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers. Let's see how many zeros there were. 2,000 subscribers. So glad to see your channel grow. Well, thank you, man. If I feel like it wasn't that long ago, I was at 500 subscribers. You guys have been awesome this year. This year's been a really, really good year for the channel. I know I remember New Year's last year, I was excited. I was hoping for, you know, the channel to get to 5,000 subscribers, and I managed to barely make it to 5,000 subscribers before the clock turned in Colorado to 2018, and now here we are hoping to get 30,000. So it's a big kind of difference, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you guys for that. You guys, it's all you guys' you know, word of mouth and you know, watching and you know, helping the YouTube algorithm to get discovered by other people that might be interested in stuff. So thank you guys. Do you have or have played Arma? I have Arma. I got it for the DayZ mod, but I have not actually played actual Arma, and I haven't even played the DayZ mod in like forever. But is it necessary to wear gear during war? Of course. Especially like the bulletproof vest, if that's what you're talking about, and then the helmet and stuff for safety. When did the military STP or stop using the old deuce and a half? Ooh, probably because they still kind of had them for a little bit, like in the early 2000s. But then they started being really rare to see like mid 2000s. So probably somewhere around there, between the early 2000s and mid like, you know, between 2000 and 2005, I would imagine. Somewhere probably around there, I would think. But yeah. Sir, what is meant by chaos? It's just a a nickname that I've had forever, since I was in high school. I just thought it was cool having like a, I think I originally created it for like an email address. I wanted some kind of cool email address, and something that also started with a C, like my first name. So I did ChristopherChaos at Hotmail back in the day, which that email account doesn't even exist anymore. But it wasn't that. It was like ChristopherChaos underscore something else, some numbers or something like that, because I think ChristopherChaos was taken or something. I don't remember. But I used it back, so it would have been back in like the late 90s. I created that name, and I just stuck with it ever since. It's been like my email address for a while. It's been other little screen names, like when I did like Yahoo Chat back in the day, and it's just always stuck with me. I just kept ChristopherChaos. It just sounded kind of cool, and I guess it kind of represents that sometimes your life is chaos, and you just got to deal with it. You know, you just got to embrace the chaos sometimes, and just make things work out. Chaos doesn't have to be a negative. It can be a positive if you make it a positive. So, did you ever have the desire to be an officer? No, not really. I mean, it would have been okay. I just never thought about like pursuing that. Sir, what's your next video about? Well, MOS Monday would be the next one, so it would be most likely the 19 kilo MOS Monday. So, should I tell recruiter I fractured my finger at the age of 13? I don't think they care. I don't think that's gonna, you know, affect you. When you go through MEPS, they're gonna do all these physicals on you, and if you can pass the physical at MEPS, then you're good enough to join the Army. So if, as long as it's not something that prevents you from being able to do any of their little, you know, physical exams that they go through during MEPS, then it shouldn't cause any problems. I wouldn't think having a fractured finger at the age of 13 is going to affect you in any way, unless for some reason it prevents you from being able to do push-ups or being able to carry stuff. But then it might, you know, have a problem. If I was cybersecurity, can I join special operations? Probably. I would imagine that's an MOS available in the Rangers, which is kind of still special operations-ish. Not sure if they fall under SOCOM Command or not, though. I don't remember for sure. You wouldn't be able to do like SF, like Special Forces, but as far as like Special Ops, you could do something like Rangers, I would imagine, or you can do PsyOps. I think PsyOps has some cybersecurity jobs. I'm not 100% sure. So, LOL, why not? Why not? It happened 2 years ago. Wasn't a bad okay, wasn't a bad fracture. A very small one. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. It's probably, because like I said, if it's not something that affects you to where it'll prevent you from being able to, you know, do push-ups or carry stuff, it's probably not a big of a thing. So I wanted to get to those T-shirts that I was talking about. So I'm trying it out with Teespring now that I do have the function to add it's called the merchandise shelf on videos. I don't know if it's on this one. It might be. I don't know if it happens on live streams. I don't know. But underneath videos, it'll show like T-shirts that are available through Teespring that are made by the creator. And so a while back, I got that option to be able to do that, but I didn't create any shirts for it. Now I have some shirts that I created for it. So I did like these different little themes, like some of our military themes. There's a couple of special chaos shirts that are on here that are not available, like on my ChristopherChaos.com/store website. So I got some different ones. If you're interested in them, it helps the channel out. So maybe check them out if you're interested. But I'd made some kind of fun ones, straight out of Basic, straight out of OSIT, you know, kind of like straight out of Compton. So those are available that I kind of designed and created those ones. And then there are, like I said, there are some special chaos ones that has like this different kind of scratched logo, where the logo looks a little bit different. It's pretty much the same logo, just with scratches all over it. So it's really the only thing. It kind of makes it a little bit different, which that shirt is not available on ChristopherChaos.com/store. And then some different ones like for Army veterans, and for, you know, if you just want to, you know, represent the United States Army, maybe you're going to be in the Army or whatever, then there's a, you know, U.S. Army soldier kind of shirt that I designed as well. So those shirts are on Teespring. I do have a link down in the description if you're interested in checking them out, taking a look at them, and if you're interested in, you know, getting one, then it's super easy to do so. And then there's also the chaos ones at ChristopherChaos.com/store. So, you know, whichever. Sir, please make a new video. Thank you. I did. What are you talking about? Sir, please make a new video. Just have a new video from Thursday, and then this is a live stream. I just don't do one on Fridays, right as of right now. I don't have a Friday video. But otherwise, I've had a video every day of this week, with the exception of Friday. What person would you be if you never were in the Army? I don't know. Maybe I would have gone into what I originally wanted to do, which was be a mechanic, and I wanted to have the goal of being a NASCAR mechanic, like working in the garages, rebuilding engines. So maybe I would have gotten that. I don't know, but I prefer this path right now. You know, so far this path is doing all right for me. Being a mechanic, I think, like, I see myself being very frustrated with that. I don't think I'd actually have the patience to be a good mechanic. If you could postpone your enlistment, is it better to just keep it to yourself? As long as you have no scars, you don't have to tell them. You're gonna postpone your enlistment from scars? I don't even know what you're talking about. But I mean, you usually get to choose when you want to go, sort of, based on availability of dates. They're gonna say, hey, this is available if you want to take this one. If you want to push it out farther, you know, then you technically can. Sometimes they don't have those dates that far out, depending on how far out you want to push it. And they'll tell you just to come back to MEPS if you don't want to take that, whatever initial date they want to offer. So 70th Regiment is funded by SOCOM, so there you go. So yeah, I wasn't 100% sure if the Rangers fell under SOCOM or not. So hey Chris, I just heard about the Alaska earthquake where I spent 2 years at Fort Rich. Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching that at work on, was it Friday, right? I was watching some stuff on the TV they had in the little break area where they were talking about it. So pretty awesome. Edward with $1.99. The lights are gonna flash. There we go. Blinking lights for you, Edward. What do you do now? I am an instructor. So to get a little bit more, I already answered this in somebody else's question earlier, but I'm an instructor. There's a system in the United States Army they use called the JCR, stands for Joint Capabilities Release. And that is my primary job. I teach soldiers how to use that software, and that software is used in their vehicles, inside of TOCs, and it's used to be able to basically track themselves, track other friendlies, send up reports, and do all that. A lot of times it's in their vehicles, but it's also inside of like the commands. And I basically have a basic operator class that I teach to teach soldiers how to do the basics of using that software for their vehicles and inside there. That's my primary job, but I also help out with a lot of other training. So if there's other training events going on in our building, because we do a lot of training events, then I'm helping out with that, either to help a soldier use some other software that they might use in battle, or whatever the case might be. So that's my primary job, though, is to teach the system called JCR. So that's what I do, other than YouTube stuff. Can I join Special Ops if I was in cybersecurity but don't want to do cybersecurity and Special Ops? I just want to be Special Ops engineer. Can I switch like that? Yeah, I think so. So if you wanted to, because I don't remember how PsyOps, like if PsyOps I think is part of Special Ops too. And I don't know if they have, like, if you wanted to do something else, you could just switch MOSs. So you could always reclass. It would be a little bit of a pain to try to qualify for PsyOps and then reclass. You might have to like reclass first and then go for like some kind of special operations thing, like trying out for the Rangers or PsyOps or something like that. I don't know if they have engineers though in PsyOps, probably not. So you'd have to probably do the Rangers. So if you wanted to do something like that, like a engineer, then Rangers would have to be the way. So you'd have to reclass to something else if that's what you wanted to do, I guess. Do you prefer living on or off post, or did it just depend on the post and nearby areas? Personally, I preferred living off post because I don't know, like when you're a soldier, it's weird, you know, you don't want to necessarily always be around Army stuff all the time. Sometimes you want to kind of get away from that and, you know, only deal with that when you have to do it, you know, when you're working or whatever. So a lot of people like living off base because it kind of makes you feel more normal rather than, you know, constantly being surrounded by other soldiers. So a lot of people like living off base, but some people really like living on base because, you know, you don't have to, you know, pay rent and you don't have to pay utilities. And so some people save a lot of money sometimes living on base and housing. So it depends, I guess, personal preference. But me, I kind of liked, you know, only having to deal with Army stuff when I was at work and kind of being able to separate myself from Army stuff when I wasn't at work. So I'm new. What was that? What was that? Keith God LOL, something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how to pronounce your screen name, but well, welcome to Chaos Live. You can pick your shipping date at MEPS, but they try to sync it with sync it so your AIT immediately follows basic. Yeah, so they have a calendar, a main thing, like a computer system that kind of sees how your basic training is going to go based on availability for AIT, and try to have to fit you into a basic training that is like Jay the Vorn was saying, is going to end around the time where you're not going to have a big gap between starting AIT. Sometimes you can't avoid that and you get stuck doing like crummy details for like a week. I wasn't in that situation. My AIT started the week after I graduated basic, so I didn't have to wait any time, but there was some people that I knew, they said that they showed up to their basic, or they completed basic training, went to AIT, and then had like a week before they started AIT. The first week they were there, they were doing just crap, you know, just mopping floors and doing other kind of details until their basic training actually, or until their AIT actually started the next week. So it just depends, but usually they're trying to line it up to where, you know, something a little close. Chris, what brigade were you in at Fort Riley? When I was in Fort Riley, I was at 113 Armor, which they no longer have been reclassed, I guess. So 113 Armor is now 113 Cav, and they're out of Fort Bliss now. So Edward again with the super chat. You rule, man. Is it better to be an officer or enlisted? I'd say personal preference. So you have advantages and disadvantages with each one. You know, enlisted, yeah, you get stuck with some of the crummy stuff that you have to do, and then officers don't really get stuck with that same crummy stuff like mopping floors and doing everything. But you're also held to a higher standard because you're an officer. So if you're not someone that can deal with pressure, that could deal with that responsibility of being a leader, then you know, officer might not be for you. If you're just kind of one of those people that want to be, you know, not necessarily behind the desk, you want to be like in the dirt and getting dirty with all the other soldiers, then it's better to be enlisted. But if you're someone who wants to be more of the planning side, more of the leadership side, you know, sometimes working in an office, then maybe officer is the right path for you. So I think it's a personal preference as far as you know, which way you want to go. If you want to go enlisted or you want to go officer, it just kind of depends on how dirty you want to get or how dirty you don't want to get. Can you an MOS Monday on Signal and MPs? I already did one on MPs, man. That was the last one, wasn't it? Right? Yeah, 31 Bravo. MPs was the last MOS Monday. This last Monday was MPs. I heard enlistment bonus is a scam as they never give you the money. Is that true? Did you get your bonus? Every bonus I ever did, I always got. There are stories I have seen of people, just the system messing up and them having to go through a big nightmare to either get their bonus or fix some kind of mistake in the system, but that's not everybody. I would say, I feel like that's a fairly low number. It's not a perfect system, just like with anything in the real world, in the civilian world too. There's mistakes that are made with the system or something that somebody did or whatever. But everybody that I've known that has gotten a bonus has gotten it. Every bonus that I have ever received for re-enlisting, I have gotten. So I've never had any issues with it. But I have heard stories from like the internet, you know, of people where they received a bonus, never got it, or they received it and the Army took it back out of their pay, and all sorts of other crazy stories. But I feel like that's a smaller percentage and just some really unlucky people that, you know, got stuck with the system screwing them over. But it's not supposed to happen that way. That was some kind of mistake that happened somewhere. What was your biggest concern when going into basic? Like, I had no idea what basic was gonna be like. My impression was from movies, you know. There wasn't anything like this, like YouTube channels to tell you all about basic and all about the Army. There wasn't websites really out there to tell you all about it. There wasn't TV shows really out there at that time to tell you all about it, I don't think. At least they weren't popular if there was. So it was just mainly the concern of not knowing what it was going to be like. You know, was it going to be as extreme as you saw like in Full Metal Jacket, you know, even though that's Marines, or anything else, you know, you saw. So just the big unknown, you know, of when I had to go in, of what was going to happen. Do you know the U.S. Army 45th Infantry Division shoulder patch was originally I don't know how to pronounce that word. So was it Sasquid? I don't know. I'm not gonna butcher it. I did not. So I don't know any of that history stuff. I am not very good with history stuff. So if you try to hit me up with some kind of history craziness, we're just gonna believe you, I guess. I have no other choice. Nobody has access to your medical records. Well, Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the previous thing. Let's see. If you guys want to serve your country, you can meet the physical and mental requirement for 4 years, leave out all of their prior medical conditions and surgeries, and never tell anyone about it. Super chat again from Edward. I'll get to you in just a second, man. Let me finish answering this one. So I don't think they request your medical records from your doctor or anything, but if your previous injuries, you know, are going to prevent you from doing certain tasks or whatever, then you need to disclose it because they're just going to fail you in MEPS anyways. But yeah, if you had certain previous things that you don't want to disclose, then, and it doesn't prevent you from doing stuff, then you don't really have to. So I guess that is true, yes. Edward again with $1.99. Are we making it rain again on the live stream? And Ox, no pay with Ben Arm or benefits worth it. Well, I don't even understand your question, man. Is Ox? I don't know what Ox is supposed to be. I think of Ox as auxiliary. No pay with Ben Arm fits worth it without money. I don't know. I'm not really too understanding on your question. If you want to try to rephrase it, you don't have to do another super chat to rephrase it. I'll try to look for your other rephrased version of that question. But otherwise, I don't think I understand what your question is trying to ask. What is your view on political correctness in recruit training? I don't know. I'm not a very political person, so I don't know. I'm not sure even what reference you're talking about. Can you and MOS Monday on? You already said that, didn't I? Did I answer that one? Is that the same question, or did you ask it again? Marine infantry or Army infantry, leaning more towards Army infantry. Yeah, it just depends on which branch you want to do. I feel like Marines are probably a little more hardcore than Army guys, even though I was Army, but I don't know. I mean, it's probably pretty close in some levels, and it maybe just depends on the unit as well. But Marine, I know Marine Basic seems like it's a lot tougher than OSIT in the United States Army. So, how does the money work? Like, if you're making $100,000 a year, do you get it weekly like a regular civilian job? If so, what do you get to spend it on? $100,000 a year would be quite a bit. You'd have to be probably like an officer, a general, to be making that much in the Army. Are you talking about a bonus? Because if you're talking about a bonus, some bonuses are in increments, and then some bonuses are lump sums. Sometimes it just depends on the amount. If you're talking about pay, soldiers get paid twice a month. They get paid on the 1st and the 15th of the month, unless you elect to get paid once a month. Then you pay, I think, on the 1st of the month. But by default, it's twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. So, yeah, that's how that kind of ends up kind of going. Oh, swastika. That was what was it? Skechers Kid Gaming, or no? Who was it? The history lesson. I don't know why I didn't read it as swastika. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Do females have the same standard in fitness tests as males? With the new fitness test, they will. The current one that they're still using right now, they do not. They have a different kind of standard based on age, based on your gender. But with the new fitness tests that is coming out, I have a video on it if you want to check it out after the live stream. I'm talking about the ACF, the Army Combat Fitness Test, which will start slowly being, it's kind of in testing right now as far as how they want to officially make it the standard. But by 2020, sometime in 2020, they want to make it, there will be the official Army Physical Fitness Standard, and that one is gender and age neutral. So check that out. I would recommend maybe after this. Let's see. I'm scrolling through the comments a little bit. Did Edward ever rephrase his question? I don't think I see any rephrasal because I didn't quite understand what the question was trying to say for your earlier one. But what bases allow soldiers to have private weapons in the barracks? You're not in the barracks. I don't think any bases allow soldiers to have privately owned weapons in the barracks. Pretty sure that's an Army standard. I don't think there's any obscure bases that allow it, but for the most part, you have to register it, and you can't have it in the barracks. You could have it like, you know, on post. So if you were married and you lived in on-post housing, or you're an officer and lived in on-post housing, as long as the weapon was registered with the provost marshal, you could have it on base. Otherwise, if you live in the barracks, most people that I knew, they were single who had weapons, maybe because they went hunting or whatever. They would keep it at a friend's house off base, maybe a family member's house, or they would have maybe like a storage unit that they would keep it in. and then when they were going to go hunting, they stop by the storage unit, go pick it up, clean it, whatever they got to do, and then head off to go hunting. But you're not allowed to have weapons as far as firearms in the barracks. I'm pretty sure that's an Army standard. What are your thoughts on the new Army greens? I think they're pretty cool. Maybe at some point I'll do a video on it, maybe, but I think they look okay. I'm sure it's going to add a little bit of extra work for some people because you will have to shine your shoes and make it a little bit neater and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it's all about trying to look more professional, which I feel like it will do that. But yeah, it is going to add a little extra work to a soldier getting ready for work each day. So yeah. What did your family say when you told them you enlisted/deployed? Well, when I enlisted, there wasn't any kind of combat going on, so they didn't really mind. I'd been talking about it like while I was in high school about how I'll probably do the Army, and then when it was getting a little bit, I think maybe halfway through my senior year is when it was kind of more like, yeah, this is probably what I'm going to do. They didn't care. They thought it was fine. They were supportive of it. There wasn't anything really going on, where I feel like families nowadays have a little bit more fear of their child going into the military because of the Iraq War and Afghanistan and everything. But it wasn't until I was already in the Army for a little over a year, almost 2 years. It was probably almost 2 years, actually. It would have been just a little over 2 years, maybe. That the Iraq War, or 9/11 happened, and then the Iraq War happened, so I was probably 3 years into the Army by the time the Iraq War happened. So it wasn't until later that my family had to worry about me going to deploy and all that stuff, which I did deploy to Iraq twice. What are the difference between a recruit and a private? Recruit is an old school term. I think actually the Navy, or not the Navy, the Marines call their new soldiers in the Army recruits. Army doesn't do that. Army still calls them privates. I think back in the day, like a long time ago, people would refer to young soldiers, new soldiers, privates as recruits. The Army doesn't do that anymore. You're a private first class, you're a specialist, whatever you are. It doesn't matter. In basic training, they call you by your rank. So if you're a private, they'll call you private. They won't call you a recruit. That's an old school thing from back in like the 70s, 80s or something like that they did that. And then also Marines, I think, call them recruits. What's the difference between, oh, I already said that one. What is your chance of dying if you're a medic in the field? The same as really anybody, just depends on the situation you're in. I don't think being a medic increases your chances over, say, an 11 Bravo or certain other MOSs, so I don't really know. My brother waited the day before he went to swear in as a 35 Fox before he told his family. Should I do the same? Because my family told me not to go infantry and I'm going infantry. You know, you just gotta kind of be like, hey, I'm an adult. I'm gonna do what I want. You might be disappointed in me, but I gotta make my own life choices and pursue the path that I want to pursue, you know, in life. And if that path is to be an infantryman in the U.S. Army, then you got to understand it. You might not be happy with it, but you just got to, I mean, you could probably maybe make it sound a little nicer than that. But, you know, you just got to, some parents just have to let their kids grow up. You know, you might not like the choices. You know, I'd understand if they were more disappointed because you said that your life choice was going to be a drug dealer or something, or be a heroin addict or something, but, and they were just disappointed in you. But if you want to join the military and you want to do something, you know, dangerous or whatever, then yeah, it's understandable for them to be worried about you, but they should still, you know, maybe support you, I would hope. So, is it true you can join the Army as a warrant officer from city streets if you go flight? If you want to be a warrant officer pilot to fly helicopters, yes. Otherwise, if you're just trying to be a warrant officer and be like, you know, maintenance or something else, then no. The only ones you can basically go straight into the Army as a warrant officer is if you're wanting to be a pilot, for the most part. Chris, ever hear about new soldiers going from basic to airborne school and being made? What do you mean, being made? I'm not sure what you mean. Or being made. Okay, made to do PT in their Class A's. Sorry, I jacked that all up. I don't know. I don't think I've seen that. Doing PT. I mean, I could see it, you know, like in basic training, someone, you know, them making you do, you know, smoking them in their Class A's or in their dress uniforms. But after that, it'd be pretty jacked up. But I could see that happen in basic training. I think I've heard stories of people that had to do, got smoked in their Class A uniform. So that would suck. Join Joining the reserves as an engineer officer. What should I expect as an engineer officer? I don't know, because I don't know a whole lot of engineer officers. I mean, I met some officers that were engineers, but I don't really know specifically. I mean, you have, no matter what MOS you're doing, there's a certain path you have to do as an officer to kind of work your way up through the ranks. You're gonna have to spend some time, like when you're a lieutenant, when you're first starting off, you have to spend some staff time. And then at some point you have to get a platoon leader role. So you'll probably be working in an office for a little at some point in time, doing a lot of office stuff, and then at some point being a platoon leader, working with a platoon, working alongside the platoon sergeant. Before then you can maybe move up to being an XO, which is more at the company or troop level, depending on what type of unit you're in. And then you know, hopefully advancing up to being a captain, maybe also still doing staff stuff as a captain, but then eventually you have to get some command time to try to advance past that, so then being a company commander. So that's kind of generic for all officers, but specific to engineers, I don't know, because I don't really have any experience with that or know what specifically it'll kind of be, I guess. Okay, so Edward, let's see. In Ox military, we get no pay but benefits and skills. Is this a good deal? Would you have done the military just for the benefits? Without pay? It'd be tough. I mean, if it was something like, say, for example, like college, right? You're not getting paid to go to college, but you're in education, and that education helps you get a job later. So maybe if you're looking at it in that way, then yeah, it can probably benefit you for a better career in your future, I would imagine. But some people need the job, so sometimes that's kind of tough, especially for the military. That'd be really tough because you don't get, I mean, maybe if you always got like free housing in the barracks or something like that. So I guess it just depends on the situation, really. Some people need the military for the income, but if it was a situation where you're doing it for the benefits, kind of like college, because it has a big impact on how you get a job in the marketplace or whatever, then sure, I could see people doing it for just the benefits, but it'd be tough. Thoughts on 09 Lima, a linguist? I'd imagine it's pretty tough. I'm pretty sure you have to score pretty high on the D Lab to be able to do that MOS. To be able to, because then you have to be able to score high on the D Lab, which is the Defense Language Aptitude Test, which determines how well you would be able to learn a language. And then if you score well on that, then, you know, which I understand is fairly, I don't know if it's difficult, because there's some people I've known that aren't the brightest people and they scored decent. but you still have to, you know, be able to learn a new language. So I imagine it's a pretty tough MOS to get into, I would think. I don't think I've ever known anybody that was a 09 Lima, though. I've known some interpreters that were civilians, not military ones, though. Hey, Chaos, I gotta go. I'll see you in the next live stream. Have a good one. Well, thanks, Eduardo, for joining in on Chaos Live today. I'll see you next time. Illegal to shoot medics? The Taliban don't care, yeah. I mean, there's... I don't know, because they're not really engaging in combat, and they're not supposed to shoot at like a military medic vehicle, but they don't care. They're already, you know, breaking rules anyways and whatever, so what do you do, arrest them? You know, you're already trying to kill them anyways, and they're trying to kill you, so it's against Geneva Convention, sure, but you don't, if you're a terrorist, you're not going to care. Bill Barrow keep asking? Oh, what, Bill Barrow was asking a question that I missed? Let's see. Damn, can't super chat. Where am I? Gonna get question through. All right, I'll find your question, Bill. Let's go back and find it. Sometimes the chat moves fairly quickly, or I get too far behind. Any quick thoughts on 12 Romeo? I can't find anything good online. And Bill, I will help you out, since I don't want you to feel like I am ignoring you. So what is it? A 12 Romeo, right? 12. I don't even know what a 12 Romeo is. So I have to Google that. An interior electrician? I don't really know if I know anybody on that. So I can tell you the basics, you know, from, you know, the Army's website has got a lot of good information. So just quickly looking at the Army's website, I mean, here, I'll bring it up here on the screen for you, Bill. But it's available for enlisted for specifically a 12 Romeo. Officer probably has a different MOS, because these are usually enlisted MOSs. So you can do it both active duty or reserve, so it also includes National Guard. and then you're doing a lot of, you know, the main interior electrical stuff. At 93 in electronics on the ASVAB is to qualify for that, and I don't imagine you probably wouldn't need a security clearance. And training for it, let's see how long is basic and everything. So you have the normal 10 weeks of basic, and then your AIT is going to be, does it say? Advanced individual, 10 weeks of basic training and 7 weeks of AIT. So your AIT is 7 weeks. I don't know where it's at, but you can probably easily Google 12 Romeo AIT location and probably find out. So there you go. There's a little bit of information. The Army website usually has a lot of good information. It's sometimes where I pull information from, a combination of this and other locations, other websites, to government websites to provide information for MOS Monday, and then a little bit with my my own experience if I have that to kind of throw in there, which so far I've been able to do with every MOS. So there you go. There you go, Bill. Hopefully that answers your question. If you're having problems with Super Chat, not a big deal. I try to get to everybody's questions. It's sometimes just, yeah, it's obviously more noticeable if you do a Super Chat, and I try to prioritize yours. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps you out, Bill. Can you go cybersecurity without a college degree? Like, will they teach you in the Army how to program and everything? I don't think cybersecurity isn't necessarily programming. It's more about defense stuff, kind of hacking kind of things. But no, you wouldn't have to have a college degree. If you want to be an officer, of course, you're gonna have to, you know, have a college degree. But as an enlisted soldier, in the, what was it, 12 Charlie, or I don't remember what it was, whatever the MOS was, you don't have to have a college degree to do that. They're gonna train you how to do all that stuff and teach you how to do all that stuff. So there you go. What is a soldier's base pay in OSIT? Will it just be the same pay that their, whatever their rank is? So actually, I think when you're doing OSIT, not 100% sure on this. I believe, I have a friend who, that's the path that he went when going to OSIT, and I believe he said that they all got paid E6 pay. So I don't know what current E6 pay is, but I believe they were basically wearing staff sergeant rank. Oh no, I don't think they were wearing staff sergeant rank. I think they're all wearing specialist rank, but getting paid staff sergeant pay as an E6. And then once they were done at OSIT, then you get commissioned. But I believe that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure on that. I want to say that's how he told me it works. So, let's see. Can you join Special Forces from Civies? Yeah, you can. It's 18 X-ray. So you go through basic training, or you go through OSIT. You go through OSIT, you go to airborne school, and then you go to SFAS to try to make selection. SFAS is like a hardcore school that determines if you qualify for Special Forces, and if you get selected, then you move on to the Q course to actually go through the training to become Special Forces. But it's a long road, you know, to that. I mean, yeah, you can get that 18 X-ray contract, and then you can even go through SFAS and pass everything, but still not get to go to the Q course because you weren't at the level they wanted. So just simply passing SFAS doesn't mean you go to the Special Forces. So you have to pretty much pass and do really well for them to, you know, distinguish you from everybody else and determine that, yes, this person should be in the Special Forces. But if you just do the minimum to pass and you just make it by, then they're not going to pick you, and they're not going to bring you to the Q course. So that would be the path you do if you want to go off the streets to do that. Found all that. No YouTube channel that talks about it. Fort Lost in the Woods for AIT. Yeah, so Fort Leonard Wood is also known as Fort Lost in the Woods. If that's where they do the AIT. My experience from that was back in the late 90s when I went through AIT. So Fort Leonard Wood's probably a little different since then. So I don't know. Give me $5. What's up? It's still a crazy screen name when I see that. Some of you guys have some pretty crazy screen names. Give me $5 is a crazy screen name. Why is the Army more difficult to enlist now than the Air Force? Any thoughts or opinions? I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't really have any good comparison as far as how difficult it is to join the Air Force compared to the Army or whatever. Right now, because there's not a war going on, they're not quite as desperate for soldiers, so they can be a little picky. If things start to heat up, then they might be less picky about certain jobs, and they might be a little more lenient to let people in. but for the most part, you know, I think it depends on the situations of what's going on. So I know, like, when I joined, it was fairly strict, and then while the Iraq War was going on, they were letting almost anybody in. It seemed like, you know, you had some priors or whatever, and then, you know, depending on what they were, they would still let you in. But now they're going back to that strict standard because they're not quite as, you know, needing for a specific event. They are still hurting for numbers in a lot of areas, but they're not quite desperate yet, I don't think. I don't know. Not desperate enough yet to really lower the standards really low to allow people to come in. Chris, did you ever work with other coalition members in Iraq? Brits, Germans, Aussies, Frenchies, etc. And what did you think of them? In Iraq, I didn't work with any foreign nationals. We did a little bit of stuff with Iraqi, like police and stuff. The only time I really worked with foreign nationals was in Korea, with the Korean forces and some Swiss. So Edward again with the super chat, man, blowing it up in here, man. So thank you for the $4.99 donation, dude. Lights flash because you're awesome. Why don't Stolen Valor join Auxiliary Army over line except homeless, mental ill? Joining Aux Army because of research into easiest ways to serve. Why don't Stolen Valor just join it? Well, so I think, you know, a lot of times the people that are doing the whole Stolen Valor thing is because they don't want to be in the military. They just want some benefits from it, or they want people to treat them like they're really important, maybe. I don't know. You know, maybe they just want the attention. So some people do that stuff for attention, not necessarily because they wanted to be in the military. Maybe they didn't want to be in the military and they got denied because of medical reasons, and so they fake it. I don't know. But I don't even know what the Ox Army or the Ox military is. I've never heard of that expression, so I don't know if that's if that's a thing that's in the United States, or I think don't you live in another country, Edward? So I don't know if that's really a thing. But most Stolen Valor people are just doing it because they want some kind of benefits out of it a lot of times, or they want the attention. So joining the military in general is not easy as it sounds. Many try to enlist to take advantage of the benefits. Even being 11 Bravo requires some basic sense of intelligence and coordination. Yeah. People give a lot of people crap for like MOSs that have like low ASVAB scores for the requirements, but it doesn't necessarily mean that stupid people can still join the Army at these jobs. You know, yeah, it might be a lower ASVAB standard than certain other MOSs, but you still have a physical requirement to make. You still have a somewhat and have to be at least somewhat intelligent to be able to do the job and everything and succeed and get promoted in the Army and all that stuff. So. How did you choose 88 Mike? Kind of got chosen for me. I wanted to be a mechanic. Again, I've said this before, but I'm glad I didn't become a mechanic because I wouldn't have the patience for it. I didn't have a great ASVAB score. I goofed off when I took the ASVAB, so I was limited to maybe a small handful of MOSs based on my scores that I could get. Some of the jobs I didn't really like, and so 88 Mike was one of the small handful of jobs that they said that I could do that sounded like I could just suck it up and do it for 4 years and then get out, because that was the original plan. The original plan was to just serve 4 years in the Army, get the experience of being in the Army, the training and all that stuff like that, and then also be able to use the education benefits to then go to college. So I was just going to suck it up, and I chose 88 Mike because it was, of the MOSs they offered, it sounded the most tolerable, I guess. So I was like, sure, I'll do 88 Mike. But 4 years of the original goal ended up turning into a little over 10 years before I ended up getting out. What weapons are you given when deployed? Depends on your MOS a lot of times. The common one is an M4 though. Most soldiers are issued M4s, and that is your primary weapon you walk around with. Certain other MOSs, like if you're a tanker, I think 19 kilos, their primary weapon is the 9mm, which that might eventually change with the new sidearm they're going to be doing. But they usually have a pistol. Usually higher ranking NCOs or even officers will have both an M4 and a sidearm. So it just kind of depends sometimes on your MOS, sometimes it depends on your rank. But M4 is the most common one. Some people will get other ones. Maybe they might be the 240 Bravo, which sucks because it's really heavy if that is your given weapon when you're deployed. Some people would get the SAW. They might start phasing that out eventually, I would think. I don't know if they still do the saw very frequently anymore. But M4 is probably the most common. What is the information on what Delta Force exactly is? Is there anyone we know? Is it above a first sergeant? You talking about for the rank to be in Delta Force? Delta Force is basically an offset kind of thing on their own. They a lot of times recruit from Special Forces and from Rangers. Usually you'd be a sergeant, staff sergeant, or above, or an officer to be in Delta, if that's what you're trying to figure out. There's not a lot of information about it because a lot of it's kind of secretive, I guess you could say. It's not even called Delta Force anymore. It's called something else. I forget what the acronym is, but it's actually called something else. So, yeah. What happened to Papa Drip 46? I don't know. I've seen some of his videos back in the day, a while back and stuff, but I think he's friends with that Art Chisel guy. And I think I've seen in some of Art Chisel's videos he's talking about like he's doing things like going to college and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know the individual, so I can't really chime in on that. Thoughts on the Army Greens? They're pretty cool. Talked about it a little bit earlier in the live stream, but maybe eventually I'll do a video on it. See you later, Chris. Walter, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, most info about Delta is classified. Yeah, they don't give a lot of information about it. They don't even say who like the sergeant major or the commander or anything is for Delta. They don't release that information. They'll release like past commanders after they've retired and stuff, but current ones usually is like a classified thing, kind of. Will you be watching the Army-Navy game next weekend? Who do you have winning? I don't keep track of college football, so I don't know. If that's what you're talking about, the football teams. Because I don't know, do the Army and Navy do other sports other than football? I don't know. They probably do. But I usually don't keep track. The only sport I really watch anyways that I keep track of is MMA. I'm a MMA fan, so I like watching UFC. Occasionally I'll watch Bellator fights. But UFC is the primary organization I like watching for MMA stuff. And then once in a while, if they have good local ones, I'll go to some local ones. So we're just over an hour right now. So we'll do a few more questions and then we'll cut it off. I might do a gaming live stream tonight. I don't know yet. Maybe. So if you guys are interested in that and you don't have notifications turned on and you want to make sure to, catch a gaming live stream, then pay attention. Watch out for those notifications, and maybe I'll do one tonight. I don't know yet though. We'll see. If not, maybe another time. I don't do gaming ones too often on this channel because I don't want people to like think that this is a gaming channel and then get like discouraged and unsubscribe or something like that. I just occasionally like doing it, and sometimes it's kind of fun to hang out with you guys while trying to play games, where sometimes I can't give as much attention as like I give now, but they're fun to do. Any advice for an old guy, 31, heading to basic training? Pretty much the same advice I've given to a lot of people. Just expect to get crap for it. 31 isn't very old, but they're going to treat you like it's, like you're 90 or something like that. These young 18-year-olds that are fresh out of high school are going to call you grandpa. They're going to give you crap. Drill sergeants are going to probably just give you crap, because you're closer to like to their age, and stuff. So just expect to get picked on a little bit. It's nothing personal. It's all in fun. Young kids or just drill sergeants finding a reason to mess with you, because they're going to find a reason to mess with everybody. And if your age just happens to be something like that, that's going to be their reason. Everybody else is going to be something stupid. Maybe it's the way their face looks, or their size of their nose, or who knows, whatever. They always find something to pick on you for, to test you and see how you deal with people giving you crap and testing you under pressure and stuff. So that's just how it goes, I guess. What do you think of Matt Ward? He's pretty cool. I've talked to him just in like chat before. I've watched maybe like one or two of his live streams. I think I've commented on some of his videos, and he's commented back, and vice versa or whatever. He seems pretty good. I think we each have different things we try to offer. Matt Ward is very good for fitness stuff, also the officer side of things and the reserve side of stuff, where I am more of the active side because I was active Army. I also deployed, so I had that deployment experience of what it was like going on a deployment like to Iraq. and then a little bit more experience with being in the Army for over 10 years, plus still continuing after that to even still work with the Army as an instructor and still having kind of that inside kind of stuff. So I think we each offer good things that can definitely help people out. For Matt being on the reserve side and the officer side and really good with fitness to help people get in shape, and then me with that experience of being deployed and active duty experience, as well as some still a lot of current stuff. So we both have good advantages. Ever played the game War Thunder? I really enjoy it, and it's free. I have, and I suck at it. I've crashed planes like crazy. And then it's always hard telling who's the enemy and who's the friendlies, so I'm not very good at those. I'm not very good at like multiplayer games, period, but War Thunder is just another one of those that I'm not very good at. What game is your pick for game of the year? I don't know. Like, I like playing games. I just don't always have a large opportunity to play them. I feel like probably Red Dead Redemption 2 might be like probably a good candidate. I've been playing it for a little bit. I'm not very far in the game, but I don't get a lot of time to play it. But and then I can't think of what other games are out there that would be possible, like kind of candidates. But I don't know. I was older than my senior drill sergeant. Yeah, so if that happens, they're gonna give you crap for it. It's kind of a tough situation. Like, I was 19 when I joined the military, so I didn't have to worry about getting picked on in that way. What was your favorite? What's your favorite video game? I like No Man's Sky. It's fun, and I can just be creative and adventurous. It's almost like Minecraft in space, in a way. Brandon, thanks for subscribing if you're here in the live stream. Welcome to Chaos Army. Grand Theft Auto is fun. I usually get sidetracked and don't do the story mode for too long, and then just have fun wrecking cars. So I don't know. I mean, I like open world games. I think are my favorite, with the exception of Division. Division was kind of a letdown for me. But then, like I said, I like video games and I love to play video games. I just don't often have the time with having a day job, having a family, and having a YouTube channel. I mean, it's hard to in there somewheres fit in some time to also play video games. So it's tough. Have you played Red Dead Online yet? I have not. I've saw some videos on it and I feel like it's a big nightmare. I feel like it's just, Grand Theft Auto Online where you're running around and you're just getting killed like crazy because people are just running around wrecking cars and killing people. And I feel like Red Dead Online is the same. It looks like the map, I think the map is humongous. Like I said, I haven't gotten very far in the game, so I feel like the map is way larger than Grand Theft Auto, so it might be less common to run into people. I don't know though. But from all the videos I've seen, it looks like it's just a lot of people running around killing each other. So we'll do a couple more questions, and then we're going to cut off this live stream. If you still had some questions you didn't get answered, make sure you come back after the video has been public and processed and everything like that. And you can leave a comment down in the comment section, and I can, maybe answer it there if I have the knowledge to be able to answer it, or somebody else maybe that's watching it and sees that in the comment section can answer it. Also, I'm doing the new thing with stories now that YouTube Stories has released, where if you have a question you want to ask and the answer is a fairly short answer, like 30 seconds or less, then I answer it in YouTube Stories. And I think that'll be probably the primary use for YouTube Stories for me, is like a little Q&A, a little short Q&A. So maybe check that out. It's only available for mobile or tablet though. Do you still train, like keep up with PT and tactical type training? No, I don't. I was doing PT for a little bit and doing my own physical fitness stuff. I've kind of gotten a little bit lazy with that, which I need to get back into it. Tactical type of training, not really. I mean, I still kind of somewhat keep on with tactics because you have to with the job that I do and some of the other stuff that I do with work, but not actually like training it or anything really. Just kind of keeping up with certain tactics and stuff. But what's your thoughts on Army colleges? There's only really West Point. It's the only Army college really, and I don't know. I've never been to it. I've known some people that went through it, but I don't think I've really talked to them really in depth about what it was like at West Point. But I don't know. And we'll do one more question. Let's see. Did you ever wear a Stetson when you were in the cab unit? I didn't. I think they're pretty cool looking. Some people hated them. I kind of also sometimes felt like they looked like a cowboy hat, and I'm not much of a cowboy kind of person, as you can maybe tell and hear from the music and other stuff that you've maybe seen from me, where I'm more of a heavy metal kind of guy. So I kind of felt like it was more of a cowboy hat type of thing. It does kind of look cool though. But no, I didn't have a Stetson. I did have spurs, and I wore spurs to like squadron formations when we were supposed to. But I didn't have a Stetson, even though I think it looks kind of cool. But no, did not have that. So that'll be the last and final question. So if you are here in the live stream, you've been here for a long time or short time, and you enjoyed the live stream, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I do have a P.O. box. If you are interested, you can send me some fan mail or fun mail, or just send me a stick figure drawing, whatever you want to do, whatever. But also, if you want a sticker, while I still have some left, you can send me a self-addressed envelope with a stamp, preferably, and I'll throw a Chaos sticker inside of it and mail it back to you if you would like. Or if you just want to say hey and what's up, or send me some candy, I don't know. The P.O. box doesn't really get utilized very much, but I do have one available for anybody who wants to send me a letter or send me a self-addressed envelope to receive a free sticker. But if you didn't, catch that address, it's not like you had to hurry up and write it down, because it's also down in the description below. It's also, I think, on the About section of my YouTube page. It's also, I think, on my website, so you can visit ChristopherChaos.com, which, speaking of which, wherever my mouse went, it's always hard to keep track with 4 mice. If you go to ChristopherChaos.com, you can check out my website, plus the store that has some Chaos t-shirts if you're interested in those. Those are available over there. There's also a Patreon, some different tiers for different perks. If you want a little bit intel about what videos are coming up next, you can join the bare minimum one if you want and help the channel out and get some extra perks of knowing what videos are coming up next. But if you want the higher perk right now, which was the $5 one, you get that, plus some little short clips that sometimes I post through the little lens feature that they have in there in Patreon. And then also, if available, I try to at least do 1 or more early access videos, where maybe if a video is supposed to come out on Thursday, you might get to watch it on Monday before everybody else does, if you are a part of the $5 tier. So something just to think about if you're interested in it. If not, it's cool. I just love that you guys are here to hang out with me, watch the videos or whatever. These are just extra things. Otherwise, I'm very appreciative for you being here in the first place. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. If I do decide to do a live stream, then make sure to come back for that, for the gaming live stream. And of course, Edward again has to drop down another donation before it ends. Man, well, I have to get to your question then, I guess. Are IRR still subject to UCMJ? I don't think so. So IRR, for anybody who's not coming, it's inactive reserves. So basically, like, if you do 4 years in the Army, you're still committed to 8 years total. And so you do the other 4 years in the inactive reserves, and they can call you back and make you do, little classes or do some, little briefing or something like that. I don't know if you're still subject to UCMJ though. Maybe it depends. I don't think, like, if you go and you got in trouble with the law, I don't think that the Army is going to prosecute you for UCMJ. I don't think, maybe unless during your little class, your briefing, you did something, maybe then, or if you showed up to it drunk, or I think I've heard of some cases where they'll bring you in just for a piss test, to do a drug test. Maybe under those circumstances they could, but I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine it's not as, kind of risky or as available when you're active in the IRR. So there's probably certain circumstances that you'd probably have to face that kind of situation with the IRR, getting Article 15 or getting punishment in some ways. So there you go. Edward will end it out right there. That'll be the last question. Other questions, leave them in the comments. Maybe I'll see you later if I do a live stream gaming. If not, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching so much, for hanging out here in Chaos Live. You're awesome. See ya.